Welcome to Plans Are Booked, a podcast for every reader. I'm Molly Geller.
I'm Stephanie Blackburn.
And I'm Caitlin Madison. Welcome to episode 110. Doesn't roll off the tongue as easy as some of the other ones, but 110. 110 Grill. Ha, I came up with something. Steph said I couldn't do it, and I did. We are here, the three of us, to chat about a book, to catch up. And I have some pop culture knowledge that maybe you guys already know. I'm like the friend in the group that sends stuff and then people are like, I sent that to you on Instagram this morning. And I am so behind on Instagram messages on a daily basis because every time I go into the app, I have like 50 of them. I'm in so many groups that I have become like the old lady in the group that's like, I haven't checked my messages yet. I'm sorry I sent this to you. So that's my role in the friend group now, in case anyone's wondering, along with my readers that I now wear. So cheers to that. Okay, I just saw a tweet that The Bear season 5 is going to be the final season, which somebody had spoiled it. I think it was Jamie Lee Curtis was in a late night interview. And she was like, it was such a beautiful way to wrap the show and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, is she talking about wrapping her character? Is the show ending? La da da da. It's been confirmed this will be the last season. So that's my first pop culture thing. My second pop culture thing is there is going to be a special dedication to Rob Reiner at the Oscars. And it's going to be Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal that like introduce it and do it. So that's going to be really emotional. But I also think it's like really lovely that that is happening because the only other time that they've really reunited is for a Super Bowl commercial. So this feels very nice. What have I been doing? Working. I had a Mahjong class last night get canceled because of snow. So I'm really over the snow. It's messing everything up. It's been canceled more than once. So it's getting a little dicey as to like when it's going to happen. And I have it on my bingo card for this year that I'm going to learn Mahjong so that I'm ready for retirement. Also, I looked at, guys, I'm not shitting you. I looked at over 55 communities online today.
Why?
To get
Were they
ready?
in Florida?
No, absolutely not. No, to get ready. I was like, what kind of money do I have to live in a place where they do all the shit for me? Because right now, like, I take care of my own yard. I rake my own leaves. I mow my lawn. I do all my own snow blowing and my shoveling and all my crap. And I'm doing it. You know how people are like, I work hard so that my dog can have a nice life? I'm working hard so that my retirement isn't hideous. Like, and we live in Massachusetts and it's expensive here. And like, there were a few years where when I first started working for Brad that like I really wasn't putting as much into retirement as I should have because I was used to my school doing that for me. And so I wasn't that smart about it. And now I'm being smart about it. And I'm like, I don't know. Today I was just like, what are we talking for money here? And like, where are the nice ones? And like, you know, when I was looking at buying houses, like I couldn't afford to live in like Newton or Brookline, but like maybe when I'm over 55, I could live in Newton or Brookline. I don't know. I wanted to know the options. I do think it's the readers. I do think it's because I'm turning 41 in 2 weeks. There's just a lot going on. And also like, World War III is feeling a little imminent. So I'm like, what can I look forward to? Maybe I'll have a nice retirement if the world hasn't imploded. So those are the things that are going on with me. I've been clenching my jaw in my sleep. That's a new thing that I'm also doing because I'm anxious about everybody that's in charge of anything ever in the United States just being a moron. And yeah, so basically I'm just like wearing my readers, about to turn 41, clenching my jaw, looking at over 55 communities, hoping that I make it. That's all I have. And learning Mahjong. Obviously I'm prepping, learning the Mahjong, but I can't get to the damn class because of the snow. Everyone's speechless. That's fine. It's fine. I know. It's a lot. It's a lot. This is welcome to what it's like being in my brain.
I really wasn't expecting you to say you're researching retirement communities. So
yeah, I'm getting
just
ready. I could live there in 14 years, guys. It's only 14 years away. I have to save and be ready.
Yeah, but I think retirement now is like 75.
No, I know. I'm not saying that I'm going to be retired, but you have to be a certain age to live in those communities. And I'm hoping at that age, I'm not mowing my own effing lawn anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to.
You could just also move into like a condo instead of a house, and then you don't have to do any yard work.
I know that's what some of the things I was looking at were, but they're like townhouses in communities because I don't want to buy a townhouse. And when I'm 55, do you think I'm going to want to deal with like a 25-year-old living next door? Absolutely not. That's why they invented these. So I'm thinking ahead. You're going to be jealous when I have a plan. Okay, guys? I know you're speechless now, but
I don't really have a smooth transition from retirement communities to anything else, but
this is, I'm just floundering around. This is me floundering. Some
Okay.
people online shop. Right now, my thing is doomsday prepping, but that's just me daydreaming about living in a retirement community.
Okay. I have been spring cleaning mostly because we haven't really been able to go outside that much. So I have been trying to look for things that I can donate, but also things that I can pass on. And I was saying to Caitlin yesterday, I've become obsessed with my local Buy Nothing group on Facebook. My neighbors seem to be delighted by the things that I am ready to part with. And I have met so many nice people when we do this like pick up and exchange of the things. I passed on a pair of rain boots that I hardly wore. Today, I passed on a beautiful coffee table book that I had had truly since college. And I just don't look at it anymore. It doesn't spark the same joy. And I thought someone else might appreciate it. I passed on a serving tray that was my grandma's and then my mom's and then mine. And I just have so many serving trays that it was okay to say goodbye to one. I passed on a puzzle. I mean, just stuff that was truly collecting dust in my house. And all of these neighbors seemed so excited to have these things that were new to them. And because I work from home, even though sometimes I'm on Zoom and I can't always greet people, it's nice to say, like, I've put it in a bag with your name on it. It's on the porch. Please come at whatever time is good for you. It just feels different than the feeling you get when you make drop-offs at Goodwill, which is also excellent to do. Goodwill was a client of mine for many years and they do amazing work, but you don't always know where those items end up. This is very cool to be able to like hand something to someone else and see how happy it makes them. So I have a lot of other things that I'm going to part with. I'm talking like, who needs 20 margarita glasses? Like, not me. So being able to just pass on things like that that other people might want for like a theme party or a birthday or whatever, props for the school play. It just feels nice to be able to give stuff a second life. And especially while the weather has been so crummy, this has just been like a smiley, wonderful, happy thing.
Are the margarita glasses like in the shape of a cactus? Asking for myself.
Sadly, they are not. They're just boring, clear, like the type that you see on the shelf at Crate and Barrel, like not exciting. I do have some fun glassware with like painted glitter stems that you might be
I could be
interested in.
interested.
I'll let you both know if there's anything I think you might want before I continue. But I feel like I'm going to become the queen of this group. Like, I'm posting every other day right now, a few items. Soon, I feel like people are going to wake up and be like, what is Molly posting tonight?
Imagine that's like your legend. You know what I mean? Like, and the woman that used to live in this house, boy, she had some gem donations. Everyone in the neighborhood revered her.
I have to say, not in the Watertown Buy Nothing group, but in the one on the South Shore, someone put a 6-foot-tall plush Jesus. He's wearing like a toga and sandals, but it's very clearly Jesus.
What do you mean plush?
Like it's a giant stuffed animal Jesus, like that sits in a chair, human size. And I screenshotted it because I was like, I'm going to want to remember this even after this finds its new home.
I want to know, one, how much somebody paid for that, and two, what its original purpose was.
Me
Because
too.
I'm imagining, like, you know, the huge chair and the huge boot that they have at LL Bean. I'm imagining him, like, sitting in the LL Bean chair, like that kind of size. Yeah, I don't understand what that would have been for.
See, and I went more like Catholic guilt. Like maybe the parent sticks it in the corner of the kid's room and is like, Jesus is watching you.
Oh, God.
I thought it might be like a CCD thing.
So funny you should say that, because my real estate agent was posting, she was at an inspection for a house that I don't know if she had a buyer or a seller, but they had one of those wooden kneeling pews that
Oh,
you do
yeah.
confession in the house. And I was like, this immediately creeped me out. And I just would be like, I can't buy this house, because what kind of sinning was going on in that house that they needed one of those? Absolutely
I will
not.
say
Terrible.
a lot of the Real Housewives have chapels built into their homes.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yes,
Oh
several.
my-
So if I saw just the bench, I'd be like, this is modest.
What? Because they can't drag their rich asses to an actual church. They have to just have one in the yard.
It's
do people
not always
come
in
over?
the yard.
Do people come over to go to it, or do they just go to
No,
it
no.
privately?
No, it's like
A
where
sanctuary?
yes. It's usually part of the main house
Oh.
at the end of a hallway near, bedrooms. And they have usually a large crucifix, and they have rows of pews, and they have candles. And it's like a place they can go to have their spiritual time.
Wow.
Not,
Okay.
not here to yuck someone else's yum, but
No, I mean, if that's your thing, I guess, but I know, maybe it's the Catholic in me, but it just like, you have to go to church, like it's like a thing, like you have to go, and there's holy days, and then, you're supposed to go every Sunday, and you're technically not supposed to take communion if you haven't confessed, which nobody really follows that one because nobody likes confession. So like the fact that like somebody would set that situation up in their house is just like mind-boggling to me. I mean, there's a lot of things that are mind-boggling about religion, but like that's pretty intense. Like I just don't even know that I don't know what my face would do if I went to somebody's house and saw that they had that. Like but that's because I'm such like a Yankee New Englander, you know what I mean? Like, Molly, anything else to catch us up on?
Nope. Just working my tail off on a
You
ton
really
of
have
Zooms.
been like on a big Zoom journey recently.
I know. I've been in Zoom prison for a long, long, long time. And I have to say, this week and last week, I don't want to compare this to what it was like working inside of an agency because it's so different. Like, I've chosen my own clients and I make my own schedule. It's not the same, but the schedule the last 2 weeks has been very similar.
You're in a
And
grind. You're just
I'm
in a grind.
Yeah, I'm in a grind mode, and it's okay. Like every night I remind myself, like, it's not the same. You've made all of the choices here. You can still change anything about this that you don't like, but it is the most tired I have been in a really long time. And I had an anxiety dream about a particular project the other night. That hasn't happened to me in a really long time. And I like to think it's just because I really care and I want it to go well. But I woke up and I was like, this is really unwelcomed. Like, I'll move through this. It's temporary, but it has been very, very intense. Hence why something as small as like giving away stuff to my neighbors is my bright spot this week, because it's in comparison to all of that other stuff.
That makes sense. I do want to shout out Belladonna Books that's opening in Norfolk, Mass. They will have been open for a little bit when this episode airs, but when we're recording it, they're like about to have their big debut day, and they're awesome. They do pop-ups. They're already planning like brunches and all sorts of stuff. If you don't follow them, you totally should. They've been working their butts off. And I just have to say, I'm so excited that their store is all green themed, because green is my favorite color and it's my birthday month for St. Patrick's Day. And I'm just loving the green theme of it all. Like, I'm really enjoying everything about it. And I'm very excited to see like where this goes and what happens, because Cassie is like an event planner extraordinaire. And I just feel like because this is her baby, she's just going to like sky's the limit. I'm really pumped to see what happens with it. So shout out to them. Do we want to get into but we're doing a mystery, which I'm so excited about. I force fed this to both of them. I was like, you got to read it. It's Holly Jackson, though. We love her. We didn't really discuss who was going to like start talking about the book, but I guess since I made you guys read it, maybe I should.
Go
Does that
right
make
ahead.
sense? Okay. All right. So we read Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, and we've done an episode on one of her other books, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which also we watched the TV show. So we love her. And this book is different because she has only done YA up until now, and this is her first adult book. And the premise of this really caught my eye. Like, I think I might have read the description quickly, like a review of it, before I even realized it was Holly Jackson. And I was like, instantly add this to my to read pile. Basically, this story takes place in the area of Woodstock, Vermont. It's about a girl named Jet, and Jet is very interesting. She's very, very smart. She's like in her mid 20s, and she is back in her hometown because she has dropped out of law school. And she kind of, it seems like she's a little aimless. Like, she definitely has a lot of potential, and her family is very successful and owns like a huge construction company in the area that gets like all of the new housing developments and like all of the big like projects, and everybody knows them. And her brother has kind of followed in her dad's footsteps, and she's just like kind of flailing around, and nobody really knows what she's going to do next, what she's going to try. She's definitely known as being sarcastic. Like, the first few chapters, she's at like a Halloween event in town, and like everyone that she bumps into that she knows, she kind of has like a judgy comment about. And so it's clear that she's putting some armor up because she doesn't have like any of the big career successes that the other people in her family have. And you don't really like know why she's like that. And the big kind of pull in this book is that she gets attacked right at the beginning of the book, and she suffers a pretty significant brain injury. And the doctors are like, you probably have a week to live tops. Like, your brain is a ticking time bomb. And so she gets it in her mind that she is going to solve her own murder because ultimately she is going to die from this injury. What's really interesting about this, apart from the fact that she's solving her own murder and knows that she's going to ultimately die, the other part that's really intriguing about it is that usually when you read a book like this and you know like either it starts with the character being dead or you know they're going to die, you usually see them have like a ton of enemies so that there are lots of suspects, and you're kind of like, it could be them, it could be them. Like, I just watched that show His and Hers, and that has like a ton of it. And in this book, it's like she's just moved back home. She doesn't necessarily have enemies. Like, she has people that she rubs the wrong way, but like not to the extent that like somebody would physically attack her. And so what's kind of interesting about it is that she has to start from scratch because she's like, well, are they trying to get to my family through me? Like, does this have nothing to do with me actually? And they're trying to hurt other people that care about me? Or do I have an enemy that like I don't even realize I had? And it's because she has this like very fast timeline to figure it out. You are propelled forward very quickly. Like, the pace of this book is unbelievable. And you're just like, I gotta know, I gotta know, I gotta know. And I found myself thinking about like, if I was in that same situation, I don't know that I would have the same drive that she does. Like, I would want to know who did it, but I'm not sure if somebody told me I had 7 days left to live that I would like spend all my time digging up clues. Like, I'd think I'd want to do other things that like I never had a chance to do, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if somebody viciously attacked me that severely, like, I would need to know who did it. But that was like a thought that kept creeping up on me. Like, as I read the book, I was like, would I do what Jed is doing? Like, I'm not totally convinced that I would. What did you guys think about the book?
This was a weird book for me to read because let's start off with the parents being named Scott and Diane.
I didn't even realize
Didn't
it.
even think about it.
And the father does a construction company with the eldest child. So there was that. Then there was the head injury, which immediately brought back phantom pains in my own head when she's talking about how she can't lay on her back. When she was talking about, I think it was the first night she's trying to sleep and she can't lay on her back because of the wounds in her head, it brought me immediately back to after my accident. For probably a year, I slept with my head cushioned between two pillows because I couldn't lay directly on one. And then there was the aneurysm, and my cousin had a brain aneurysm. So this whole book was like a weird amalgamation of like nods to my own life, which was putting me in weird feelings.
How eerie.
Yes. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but bookended within this story are two scenes that I don't want to talk about too in depth because I don't want to give anything away. They are action scenes and they switch to present tense right at the end of the scene. Did you guys notice that?
No.
Okay, I'll just talk about the first one. The first scene is when she's being attacked. The entire book is in past tense until the attack is happening, and then suddenly it's in present tense. And I desperately need to talk to Holly Jackson and find out what the reasoning behind that was, because I mulled it over for so long and I can't quite figure out what it was meant to do. So that was very interesting because it happens in similar scenes in the beginning and the end. I most loved the humor around death and the relationship with her childhood best friend and how he is sort of, I mean, it was sort of mirroring Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Pip's relationship with
Ravi,
and then Sal is the brother that dies.
Mm-hmm. But it was a similar relationship in like the precocious female who has like sharp humor, and then the guy who's kind of just like going along with her because he believes in her and secretly loves her, and it's just like a beautiful friendship. So I loved that it was like an adult version of that.
I thought the relationship between Jet and Billy was the best part. That was my favorite part of the whole book. I just felt like she was in this impossible position. And instead of telling her she's crazy or that this isn't worth her time or that there are other ways she should spend her final week on Earth, he just locked arms with her and did whatever she asked him to do. And his dad is the chief of police. So it's not like a easy thing for him to decide to go rogue with her, but he does. This isn't giving anything away, but he's a musician, and there's a scene where he plays a song live at a bar. And I just was like, oh my God, Jay, you idiot. There are moments where I wanted to like reach into the book and shake her. I think Holly Jackson's greatest gift is her pacing. I thought it in every one of her books that we've read. There is a way that she keeps you heart pounding, turning the page, wondering what's going to happen. And she always ends a chapter in a way where you're like, shit, okay, one more. Like, I'll just keep going another 20 or 30 pages because you have to know what's going to happen. This was really interesting. You kind of hit on this already, Caitlin, about the premise from the jump, which is like, what would you do if you had 7 days to figure out what had happened to you? And there's a section I wanted to read where I was sitting alone in my living room and I read this page, and out loud, no joke, I went, oh shit. So she says, and her heart was right. What was the point being afraid anymore? The worst had already happened. The thing from your nightmares, the reason you didn't go out alone in the dark or held your keys in your knuckles if you had to. Chet couldn't get any more dead, and it already happened. Was this what it felt like to be a man? Walking on this creepy dark bridge, not scared for a second that she wouldn't make it out the other side, because it didn't really make a difference whether she did or didn't. The night belonged to her now too. A dead woman walking. A dead woman had no use for fear. I think about this all the time, how men don't really understand the level of fear that we all move through on a daily basis in all kinds of scenarios. Alone in a cement stairwell, alone in a parking garage, alone at a train station, alone at a gate at an airport, alone anywhere.
Parking garage is my least favorite. I think because it's the one that happens to me the most often. And my brother and I argue about this like all the time. Not argue, argue's the wrong word, but like I'll say something and he'll be like, or I'll like tell him, I'm like, hey, I parked my car here and like I'm going to this concert and I'm going to have to walk back by myself. And he'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I'm like, no, it's not okay, whatever. Like, I'm telling you as a person, like I'm dropping you a pin basically. Like it's a women thing, like they don't feel safe. But yeah, I totally forgot that part happened. I'm glad you brought that up.
It's the text me when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure. I think that also cast her circumstance into a different light for me after I read that section. And it did help explain her fearlessness around pursuing certain clues and hunches and gut feelings. Also, both of you are way better at predicting endings than I am. I liked that there were so many possibilities here that kept showing themselves in deeper and stranger ways as time went on. Every time I thought, oh, perhaps it's this person and this is why. Or perhaps they're breadcrumbing us to eventually think it's going to be this person. It kept adding very legitimate suspects as time went on. And there also were many layers to the crimes that were happening. It wasn't just her injury. There were many other things that get uncovered as the book goes on of people doing seedy and untoward things. So I appreciated that the plot map included so many detours along the way. And I found that, I'm not going to say what it is, but I found the ending very satisfying personally.
I also think that that Holly Jackson did a really good job in having a good contrast with Jet and Billy, because Jet can afford to be reckless because there aren't really any consequences for her. She's going to die. And Billy has to deal with the repercussions of like, we broke into this building, or like we went into this crime scene, or we like interrogated somebody and like went into their home and didn't have a permit for it. And like we did all this stuff that we're not supposed to do. And so I loved that there was like this person that kept like checking Jet, being like, I'm going to get in trouble for this later. And like, I know you don't give a shit, but like, this is going to be a problem for me. So I loved that there was that kind of like gut check kind of thing going on. But then I also thought it served a really great purpose because Billy's dad is the one that's like doing all of the investigating and like actually trying to solve it, while Billy and Jet are like constantly getting in his way or beating him to the punch. And I was like, this is so fascinating because the reason that Jet and Billy are getting somewhere is because like they're not adhering to any rules. Right. And so like then it made me start thinking about like, well, if there were less rules for how things were investigated, and if people could go a little more rogue like they do on TV shows or whatever, you know, what would we figure out? What would the timelines look like? Like, you know, because Jet is actually trying to solve this in a week. And in the real world, it would probably take months to figure it out. If they even figure it out, it might take years. And then like they only figure it out because somebody pulls it up as a cold case on a podcast. You know what I mean? Like there's all these things, right? And so I really liked that contrast of like Billy telling her like, hey, this is going to be a problem for me later. Her being like, throw caution to the wind. I'm going to die either way. And then Billy's dad, like watching how slowly it takes him to get to like all of these things that they're figuring out. And he's like, I can't use that. Don't give that to me. Like, you didn't figure that out in like a kosher way, kind of thing. And I just really liked that, seeing that dynamic kind of play out. I found it unusual. And like, I read a lot of mysteries, and I just liked kind of the push and pull of those characters and those things that were going on. I think this would be an unbelievable miniseries. 8 episodes. I think it would be very emotional. You grow very attached to Jet throughout it. Like I think you could really do some good things with it. I didn't necessarily imagine anybody like in it, but I definitely I take that back. You know what? You know who would be really good? And this is so funny because her counterpart was in the first Holly Jackson show, but Jenna Ortega would actually be kind of good, or somebody that like really has like that cutting kind of cynical, judgy personality. But that just came to me just like right now, like off the top
She's
of my
too
head.
young though.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, in real life, I don't know if she's too young, but anyways, I think it could be a really good miniseries. And I hope that Holly Jackson does more adult books because I really enjoyed this.
I think it would be cool as the miniseries because each episode could be one day in the countdown, which would be really cool and make it feel like really
about that.
pressurized in a way that I think people would be interested in. I will say my one teeny tiny, I don't even want to say gripe, but just meh feeling. I don't think Holly Jackson's ever been to Vermont. I just really felt like her
She's
descriptions.
British.
Well, yes, I know that, but
Question, am I misremembering, or did Good Girls Guide take place in Connecticut?
It took place in Connecticut, but
It
then
did.
the BBC,
So interesting
the
to like,
BBC optioned it, and so then it became a British show. And then
no,
they,
but she is British. So like
yes,
continually setting books in America is such like an interesting choice. I wonder
in
if she
New
comes
England. She
here,
loves New England, apparently.
she must come here on a vacation or something. And that's
maybe.
why.
I don't know what, I mean, Woodstock, Vermont is a pretty random place to pick. Just like if you're an author, like, I need a setting, where should it be? Like, I want it to be kind of woodsy and remote, but also that people would be moving through there for various reasons. I just think we've read a lot of books lately with a very deep sense of place. And it just stuck out to me that despite a few Noah Kahn mentions, there really isn't anything else that makes this Vermont. Or even like earlier today, we were talking about our joy about fake skating is going to become a movie. That book is so Midwest, like everything about it. And this could be anywhere, I felt like any small town where all of the, I was about to say townspeople, that sounds so provincial, all the like, the mayor and the police chief and the what, everybody knows everybody since they were a child. But the Woodstock, Vermont choice to me felt a bit random, and like she didn't quite work that hard to make it feel like it had to be there.
Overall, really enjoyed this and looking
Same.
forward to more of her. I'll read more YA, I'll read more adult. I don't really care. I just think that she is a fresh mystery voice. She's not doing traditional mysteries. It's more like investigative, I guess is the word that I would use, but they're like amateur investigators, which I really enjoy. So more Holly Jackson, please. And if you liked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I think you'll like this one. I think most of our listeners are our age, so I think they're also going to enjoy the fact that it's an adult book and not for younger people. I have a lot of friends that actually watched the show and I don't think they knew it was a book series. So I might tell them to check this one out. And also, this one's it's not scary. I didn't think anyway, or creepy. So like, I know like I've talked to some friends that are like, well, I don't really like to read those before bed. This isn't one of those. Whereas I've read other ones that are like more of psychological thrillers, and I agree, I don't really like those before bed either. This is like a more gentle one, I would say.
But
Cool.
I did really love the cover because it's like an ode to the brain. So it was beautifully done.
I thought it was cool too. Molly, would you like to talk about what you're reading right now?
Sure. I just finished The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. Caitlin actually started this book and decided not to continue and handed it to me. And anytime I start a book after someone else's DNF, I'm always a bit skeptical. But this is an epistolary novel. I found the format super interesting, and I learned a ton about this main character, Sybil, in ways that I didn't expect based on who she was writing to and who was writing to her. I'm not going to say more because I think we will do an episode on this, but this book has been rising on every chart. When I see the monthly Goodreads updates, when I see the, Oprah Book Club, everybody, this has been really soaring over the last couple of months. And I think if I had seen this in a bookstore, I would not have picked it up. It's two birds on a fence. It just wouldn't have grabbed me visually or thematically. And I'm grateful that so many other people were talking about it, because I personally would have skipped it on sight alone. And I'm happy to have fallen down this rabbit hole. And I posted to my personal Instagram that I was reading this, and I got flooded with DMs from people of all ages, like age 25 to age 75, who had read this and wanted to tell me their thoughts. So I'm excited for us to chat about it in a future app.
I had to not finish that one because of many reasons, but the main one was the narrator who's sending all of the correspondences is an older white woman who is a little bit of a know-it-all. She's pretty obtuse, and she just reminds me of a lot of people that I have had to deal with in my personal life and professional life, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. She just reminded me of a lot of people who have been very difficult to me. And I didn't want to read her narration, her letters, her emails, etc. So I lasted 50 pages. But I do think that the format's really cool. And I just wish it had been like a hipper, more fun narrator. But I do see why people like it. It's just I can't do it right now. Maybe when I'm like not working anymore, I might
When you're
return to
living
it.
at the retirement community.
When I'm at the retirement community, maybe. I don't know. I am reading a book, and Molly, I don't know if you know how to pronounce her name. Do you?
I think it's Guerreri. Jessica
Guerreri?
Guerreri. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm reading Both Can Be True by Jessica Guerreri, and she's going to be on a future episode because she's a Heated Rivalry fan, and this book comes out in May, and she was kind enough to send us a copy. I am devouring this book. Like, I was just excited to talk to Jess about, I'm calling her Jess as if we're friends. It could be Jessica. I don't know. I was excited to talk to her as like an author that's into Heated Rivalry. I was like, this is cool. Like this is like a fun little take. And then she sent us the book and I was like, ooh, this sounds kind of interesting. This book, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is what I wanted Blue Sisters to be. This is what I wanted The Irish Goodbye to be. This is flawed women who are likable. It's two sisters. One is on a sobriety journey and she has a family, and she is sponsoring a young woman in her town who happens to be the mother of her daughter's best friend. And the daughter's best friend and her family don't know that she's an alcoholic. Frankie's the sponsor. Frankie's sister is going through it. Her name's Mere, M-E-R-E. She's going through it because her 3-year-old daughter has just been diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum disorder, and she has significant sensory issues, and they are learning how to make the world more palatable for her. So Mere is dealing with that. Frankie is dealing with her sobriety and becoming a sponsor for the first time. At the beginning of the book, the woman that Frankie is sponsoring goes missing. And the whole theme of the book, like it's the tagline on the book, there's more than one way for a woman to disappear. So Frankie she's like, other than being sober, like, I don't know what I am, who I am. My daughters are in high school. They're going to be leaving soon. Like there's nothing that defines me as much as my sobriety. Mere has completely lost herself because she's like raising her daughter. Her husband is like a workaholic. Their relationship is kind of like non-existent. He literally works all the time and she is raising their daughter like kind of solo. And so she feels like she's disappearing because her entire life is on hold to like make sure that her daughter has everything that she needs. And then apparently, according to the blurb, the two sisters come together when this woman goes missing in their town to kind of like deal with the trauma of their past. Their home life growing up was very complicated. But these women are trying really hard, and they both have best friends that are characters in the book, and they have these like fierce, loyal friendships with these women that are really admirable. And I'm like, man, these women are flawed, but they're so likable. Like I'm already rooting for them. Like I want to know what happens. And I feel like with Blue Sisters and The Irish Goodbye, not to like poo-poo those books, they're both really well written. But those women were very hard to like and very hard to root for. So yeah, I'm loving this and I'm really excited to talk to her about it. And like I said, it's coming out in May, so stay tuned on that.
I'm so happy that you're loving it. I think it's like such a bonus when someone comes into our orbit and we're excited to talk to them
And it
about
was free. It was free. How fun is that? And I just feel so posh. Like, oh, this book's not even out yet. Like, whatever. It makes me feel really special.
That's how I feel ever since Steph became our book dealer and has access to all the advanced reader copies. I feel like we're always reading things like 30 to 60 days before everybody else. And when the pub day rolls around, I'm like, oh, right.
Yep. I'm psyched. I'm really excited. And
Steph,
the cover is green. The cover is beautiful.
I know you're all about the green today.
Yeah.
Well, this month, really.
Yes, that's true.
Steph, I know you stayed up late to finish Holly Jackson, so there isn't a book that you wanted to chat about, right? Okay. Listeners, if you want to see the list of books we talked about today, you can visit us on Instagram. We are at Plans Are Booked. That's where we share all the titles that we talk about through every episode. You can write to us, plansairebooked@gmail.com. If you liked what you heard today, we would be eternally grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps people find the show.
And until next time, our plans are booked.